My name is Jaleesa Bowden, and this is my paper on the Women's March. The way women of color were treated at the Women's March has become an issue. Nadia Agrawal, a woman of color and a journalist, wrote an article on her experience and how women of color were treated. We need to talk about this issue with the Women's March. Is an article she published January 29, 2017. Nadia Agrawal discussed how during the speeches, activists of color were put on the schedule to go last and ignored. She also raised the issue of Madonna threatening the White House and how it was handled versus how it would have been handled if it were a minority group making those comments. Nadia was excited, awaiting her journey to be a part of the movement, but when she witnessed it firsthand, she was disappointed. Overall, Nadia made very valid and reasonable arguments, but also learned the march was not just about her, but also about people. She had to realize all she could do is keep believing and hope everyone else would too. During Nadia Agrawal's experience at the Women's March, she found herself outnumbered by white women. She felt like a minority before the speeches began. As speakers took the stage, Nadia noticed that all the activists of color were put at the end of the list to speak. They raised very valuable perspectives, and no one really heard what they said because they were overtalked by chanting and conversations held amongst each other. This proved to her that everyone was not fighting for the same thing she was. No one listened and cared of the things the activists of color spoke of. In many ways, they were overlooked, and Nadia was warned about this speculation before she even went to the march. Friends told her that she was helping those who didn't help her. The rumors felt true for Nadia Agrawal. None of the activists of color issues seemed to matter to the crowd. During the march, not only were the activists of color ignored when they spoke, but Madonna was allowed to make a speech on anger and resistance. While making this speech, she expressed threats against the White House. She stated she fantasized about blowing the White House up. People laughed, not taking her comments serious, and the cops were relaxed like it had no meaning to it. No one reacted to the words she used. Nadia Agrawal raised the question of how would they have reacted if she was a black or Muslim woman making those comments. Nadia believed people came to the march to be sympathetic and to find relief, not worrying about the issues she cared about. There were more white women at the march than any other race, and Nadia knew that 53% of white women voted for Trump, and that these people were not like her. Even though Nadia believed going to the march was a waste of time, afterwards she still found people who supported what she believed in, and they still found good in the march. Nadia Agrawal was told that the march was about the people too, not just about her. She had to realize that all she could do is hope and believe that the same people will continue to fight for what she is fighting for in the future.